What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be looking at some photo editing process I normally use in editing my photos. And for those of you that are new, this is ASA's photography and music channel, ASA's studio, as you all know. And I want to say a very big thank you, and I appreciate those of you supporting the channel one way or the other. I want to say a very big thank you. I really appreciate you guys. So let's dive into the tutorial and get what we need to get done. All right, so now we have a picture of a model that is being snapped by someone. I don't know, I downloaded the photo online, but it's actually a cool evening shot, and we actually just want to fix a little thing on the photo. So you can see before and after, nothing has been done, but we just need the photo needs to be edited and a little bit touched before giving to the person. But if I was to be the one who took this photo, I would actually try to edit it just a little bit, and then before taking it to giving the client. All right, so just little touch. Now you don't have to change the photo. I repeat, you don't have to change what you see on the photo. You just have to make little changes that you know that this is how it's supposed to be, not change the full photo. No one is asking you to change the full photo, but you can actually do that, changing the full photo if you like. If you want to do some, if the person asks you to. So enough of the talk, so let's get right into it. Now, as you can see, the darker side of the photo is actually very dark, and we can't get much details. Unlike this part of this place, you can see it's actually very too dark, and the shadows over here, you can't even just get the details there. So one thing we're going to do, we're going to fix that, and we're also going to fix this part that if you turn on the exposure warning, you are going to see that this place is overexposed, of which you can actually fix that also. Even in Photoshop, you can actually fix all this. I guess you can fix almost anything, even using the clone stamp tool and the rest. So we have some tools over here that we can actually use in fixing all those. So let's just jump right into the tutorial. Just edit just little, and then we're done before taking it to Photoshop if you want to, and then edit it. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a new fill layer. Yes, a new fill layer, but I'm going to rename it. Let's rename adjustment of blacks, and then hit enter, and then we're going to go to the exposure tool panel, and then go to the eye dynamic tool, because if we use the exposure, we want to decrease this exposure. And let's turn off the warning and before and after. So we want to decrease the exposure so we can get the details of the sun. So if we bring it down, you can see that this is really the sun, the part of the sun that we need the details. That means all these details are lost. You can check all the details here are lost, of which we have details there. So exposure isn't going to fix that. It's just going to make things darker. And brightness, bringing down the brightness too won't even fix that either, because it's actually going to make things more darker, and which we don't want that. So we're going to the eye dynamic range panel, and then what we need to do, we just need to tweak this highlight and the sliders there. So let's bring down the highlight till we have details of the sun, just like that. But still clipping, let's zoom in and let's see just little changes we made. So we still have just little details. I'm just going to bring down the white and see how we have bring down the white more, and then the eye, I'm just going to leave this highlight just like this, and let's see what we have. And also on this panel, I'm going to adjust just the black too by bringing up the blacks just a little bit. Now if you zoom in, make sure you don't have those noise. Make sure you don't have those noise. That is when you know that, oh, okay, you're on track. I'm going to bring up the shadows also. I guess the shadow brings noise if you take it too forward. So we have just little details now, unlike before and then after. All right, so I'm going to create another layer, another adjustment layer, and I'll name it adjustment of just okay, new fill adjustment layer. Let's rename this one adjustment of blacks and darks and bright. Okay, just something to just remind us that that's what the layer is about. So second adjustment, adjustment of black and white. It enters. So second adjustment of black and white. So we're going to still do the same procedure. Let's see how we can increase the shadows just a bit on that. So that's just too much. I'm going, not the shadows, the black. I mean, so we can get just little details. So that looks fine to me. Now we have little details. Of course, this is going to be like this. And be careful, do not introduce noise into the picture. So we don't have any noise. So now on the model, I guess we can actually, we're having, just a little bit of noise, but it's not too obvious. So let's see what we can actually do concerning that. So I'm going to reduce this one just about just 10 or 11. Let's just leave it at 10. I'm not going to bring up the shadows anymore. So the highlight, let's check the exposure warning. So we still have just a little, and if we bring down the highlight or the white, let's bring down the white because white don't create noise. So I'm bringing down the white and let's see what's actually going on there. So let's just quickly see exposure warning. So bring down the whites just when you have just the sun. Okay, so bringing down the highlights, we actually introduce noise, so we're using the white this time around. So I guess this is just fair enough than using the other slider. So we've actually adjusted the photo to some extent. Now let's see what is actually missing in the photo. So let's check out before and after, and then we have this. So now we're trying to give the subject more color. So let's go create a new layer, new fill adjustment layer. No, let's use new empty layer, and now we're going to select the background. So I want to select the background, and then I want to bring the sky just darker a little bit because it's actually, I want the subject to be the holy one being white. Okay, let's delete this, and then let's create just new fill layer. Oh, okay, let's not create a new fill layer. Let's create a new empty layer, and then let's pick and select the highlight, the sky, and all of that. So I'm just going to make a selection of the sky. Okay, so make selection of the sky, and then this is how it actually looks. So let's see. We're going to just bring it down just a little bit and then give it some color. So let's go to the eye dynamic. Yeah, let's use the eye dynamic this time and see what's actually going on there. So we're bringing down the highlight on those areas, and then we're bringing down the white on those areas. So let's now decrease the blacks too, so as to give more cool depth to the photo. And then I'm going to increase the shadow, no, decrease the shadow rather, sorry. So we have something to bring out the subject the more. So just a little bit details that we've actually created. And now I also want to bring up the subject, but let's introduce some colors to the sky. So I'm going to create another, let's just use this layer and give in more saturation if there is any need of that, or decrease the saturation. Sorry, it's actually more saturated this time. So actually blend that in. You can see that it's actually more saturated. So just bring it down just a little bit to get that cool color evening look. So I'm just going to bring it down by 7, not too much, and then I'm going to create another layer. Okay, before creating another layer, let's go to the color tool and then go to the color editor. So we can actually bring in saturate the blues more if there is any color like that. So I guess this color, that's what I want to pick. So let's use the slider tool and pick this color, and then it's actually that. So increasing the saturation of that color, let's see, it's actually creating some saturation. Will actually remove. Decreasing it, I guess, will bring the blue feel back. Yeah, so something like that. I want the blue feel of the image of that sky. So we have before and then we have after. So I can actually click on the blue and then just decrease. I feel there's no blue there, then we have less blue color there. So that can be done maybe in Photoshop or the rest. So okay, so now the back of this mountain I feel is supposed to be darker than the rest part. So let's just go to layers and then click. This adjustment is for the sky, so let's name it sky. I'm just going to double click and name it sky. No, just leave it like that, sky. And then I create new empty layer and I'm going to make this part of this mountain more dark. So select the magic tool and then select this part of the. Alright, so apture-one has actually selected. So we can actually remove from where we don't actually want, but just a little change I want to do there. I just want to decrease the exposure of just this side. So let's see, go to the exposure tool and then I don't feel like using this exposure panel, but I feel that is how it's supposed to be. So let's go to the highlight and then decrease the highlight over there and the white and then the brightness just a little bit, but a little bit so it could blend with the background. -5 looks okay. Okay, this is 0 and then -2. So just -2, we can actually remove it from the rest part of the image. So let's just quickly toggle it off and on. So you can see just a little bit change makes the background, the image, the model pop out more than that. Okay, so now this part I don't want yellow on the road. I just want a clean. But the reflection of the sun is yellow, so it's going to bring in yellow. So I feel like the whole picture is actually not saturated. Let me not use saturated, but it's actually okay now. So compared to before where we have some darker parts, so we can see some part of the road. You can see the difference right here, this place and then this place. So now let's bring out the subject more. Let's create a new empty layer and then we are going to use our mask. Let's just use this mask to do a quick job to select the model. So toggle M and then we're going to select the model. So bring the model. I'm just going to do a quick selection. Okay, so just a quick selection I just did. You can see just the rough work of the selection. And if you feel like you need to, just for the tutorial, you can actually select just fine. So let's do what we want to do now. We want to bring out the subject, so I'm just going to hit M and I want the subject to um, pop out more from the background. So I'm just going to increase the highlight of the subject and let's see. Okay, let's create a new. Okay, that's the layer. So this one is subject pop, so we won't get lost. So subject pop, and let's just increase the highlight of the subject and the blacks, the whites also are gonna increase it. So the shadows just a bit from the background. 10 is too much. Just 7, and then the blacks. Okay, so I feel we are introducing noise to that. I just want the subject to pop out more because I can see some noise that I don't want, introducing noise. So let's use that as a case study. The shadows, I brought it up too much, I guess. Okay, so bring in just a little bit to make the image pop out. So okay, so the shadows just a bit. All right, so that is that. Let's see. Yeah, you can see just a little bit change, of which we know the color is actually bleeding on the part, so that can be fixed, but let's just leave it like that. So I'm going to turn it on again to make the subject pop out the more. I'm going to go to the exposure too, and then I'm going to, should we bring down the brightness? No, we're trying to, yeah, let's bring down the brightness a little bit. So you can see what's actually affecting what. So if at all the sun is actually bright um for the subject to pop out the more, you need to, you can decrease the brightness so that the sun won't actually bleed into our body. So you can see I'll make progress on that. So let's go and let's give him just a little bit structure so we can have, that's too much, just a little bit 4. And let's do increase on saturation, just her body, and she's more saturated, just saturate her body just to give her more of the skin and the color of the clothes to pop out the more. So we have that, and let's just see just the before and then the after. So just a little bit changes we actually did, and then we can take to Photoshop. So if you feel like, oh, you want to color grade, you can just create a new fill layer and then go to the color editor tool, and yeah, color balance. So you want it to look more like a morning feel or afternoon feel. So this is where you do your color grading. The more, for me, I'll go to the, the bluer feeling kind of thing, but I don't think I'm going to use it anyway. So just something cool evening, like this cool evening. And then this one also, I'm just going to bring in the blend of this cool evening feel. And then this also, just bring in a bit of a cool evening, just the blue sky of a thing. Okay, so it's just meant for just, want to calibrate something, look something nice. So I guess just the blue feel. I like the blue feel though. Then you can decrease your opacity. So sometimes you can use the lumen range to, remove it from the brighter and the lowest, and from the brighter part to the other part of the image. And so I don't want to go into all of that for the moment, and how it takes, so the radius, increase more of the radius. Yeah, so you can actually make it appear just at the top. So remove it from the darker side and then the fill on the upper side. So something like that to create a smooth blend. You can increase the slider just like this, and then you see the smooth blend of the fill. So just a little bit radius and sensitivity. So you can actually use display mask, and then you see the places that are actually selected. So you can bring this slider up, and you see I don't want the lighter part selected. Let's leave it on. Let's remove it from the lighter part. Yeah, and then let's introduce the darker part. So I want the sky, if you like, just the sky to be selected. Just the sky. This is too much. Just the whiter part. Okay. Let's take it back a little bit. So I know what's actually causing that. Then everything okay. To the front a little bit. Let's see the sun, gauge the sun. Okay. So back a little bit. And then yeah. So we have something cool to work with. I'm gonna bring this slider just to way forward to a lot of that is actually selected. So blue is actually selected. So let's bring it back. Just a bit smooth transition, and then this one smoother transition. Remove it just from the back a little bit, so exists just at the midtones alone, and then we are going to hit apply. So we have this type of feel, and then we can start then adjusting the colors of what we want to get. Yeah, then, so uh, okay, so this feeling is actually okay for me. We can actually decrease the opacity so to have just this cool calm feeling. So I'm just going to reduce it back just a little bit so you can just quickly see our before and then after. We introduce more blues to the sky, and that is just all we just need to do to get the picture, to get the image, looking great. So if you also want feel like increase the saturation of it, you can actually go to the basic, increase the saturation of those side just a little bit, and no need to change the hue or lightness. So that is how to use, no, to just edit the photo and make them, then color grade them in Capture One. So take it to the front and then we'll see what's actually done. So this is actually okay. So this is our before looking like this, and this is our after having more details. Take a look at how the sky, changes, and then we have more color and details. So if you feel like you also need the other color fill, you can actually color grade everything back to this one. But I guess I really love this one. Just take a look at how real this place is. Just this evening look just before and then just after. So very great before and after. So all right, thank you guys for watching the tutorial. I want to say a very big appreciate thank you to those of you supporting the channel, and thank you for staying tuned, for watching to the end. As you all know, this is Asa Studio once again, and if you want more video, and let me know in the comment section. If you also know that the what we post in the channel is actually helping you, feel free to let us know in the comment section. And without further ado, we have come to the end of the tutorial. And if you're new and you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe. So see you in our next Capture One video. We'll be making another adjustment. We'll be learning more about the tools of how to use Capture One. So I guess I'm going to post something like that very soon. So thank you so much for staying with us. See you in our next video. ASAS Studio.